I read Remembering the Kanji. Okay, so I'm working on Kanji From Zero Book 2, and I love it. I love it. And I'm not saying that as a marketing thing. I think what I'm building in Book 2, I need to put it in Book 1 also. I need to redo Book 1. But what I'm doing in Book 2, no kanji book's gone like this. No kanji book is doing what I'm doing. I really believe that. I have a ton of kanji books here. And I honestly had avoided reading Remembering the Kanji. I had avoided it because I was, two reasons. One is the one that I put out in the real world. And it's actually a thing that I believe. I don't want to read my competition's books because I don't want to be influenced by them. I don't want to accidentally steal from them, for example, right? Because you hear about comedians will steal jokes and song riffs get stolen sometimes without realizing that they've stolen it, right? And obviously there are times when it's legit stolen, right? So when I was in LA picking up Arisa, I pick up Arisa from college and we bring her back. And so we always stay one night. So I brought a book with me to read and I brought Remembering the Kanji. And I read it and I really, really love the intro. The intro is the entire written part of the book. The minute you get past, I don't know. All right. There's 12 pages of intro. And then in certain parts of the book, they give you a little bit more. I don't know if it's just in the beginning of the major sections. Okay. And then you have these, then it goes into teaching you the kanji. Okay. It goes into teaching you the parts of the kanji. Now, I'll tell you the good that I really, really like about this book. One, they're honest. It's either a technique or they're really being honest. And I think they're probably, it's been rewritten a few times, I can tell. I know because they've updated things in the book. Not from when I last read it, for example. I didn't actually last read it, but you could tell that the information in this book is not when it was actually published, like 1976 or something like that. So I was reading it and they talked about kanji that got added to the Japanese language, to the Kyoiku kanji. So I know that they've updated the book. And the way that the book is written, it looks to me like they had some initial probably negative feedback from some people and they address it in a way that I would address if I had gotten some negative feedback. And I don't mean that to disparage it. I know a lot of people love this book. Anyway, what they say that I thought was really honest is, hey, this won't work if you're learning in the traditional style. It will not work. It will actually be horrible for you if you learn with this method and the quote unquote traditional style, right? So I thought that was pretty honest. I really liked that. And then another thing, there's actually one thing that I took from this book as almost a piece of advice for when I was making my own mnemonics, because I was already making mnemonics before I read this book. I had gotten through, I don't know, the first 12 lessons or so, and there's 33 lessons in Kanji From Zero, book 2. So I wish I could get to my point. One thing I like this book is they said they only, for each part of the kanji that they break into, they've chosen to only use one word to describe it. I thought that was a good idea. Because you can have, like, for tsuki, you can have day and month, moon and month, and then for nichi, you can have day and sun. And I just thought, I'll go with sun, I'll go with moon. I like that concept. It makes it easier for the student. That's a good thing that they did in that book. That's one thing that I'm doing. But, so that's the good. I like the intro. I like the straight talk in the beginning of the book. And then they go through the primitives and they try to teach you. But the mnemonics are just too long. They're too explanatory. And this was the surprising part. There's a ton of biblical references. And this is an exaggeration joke, but it's like, remember when Job was working at the temple and he walked across the street? Remember that he was holding on to this hatchet? It's like, the hatchet is symbolic of the death of his son. I'm not going to remember this kanji based on that. So there's a lot of surprisingly many references to Bible stories, which I am turned off on. I have one, and it's like a ask and ye shall receive or something like that in one of my mnemonic sentences. Now, every one of my mnemonics is one sentence. Are they great? Sometimes. Are they effective? Maybe. It's really, really hard to make a a mnemonic. Because I have rules with my mnemonics. My mnemonics must be in the order that you write the kanji. So if it's written with person and then something, it goes person, something, something in that order. And then it must end. My mnemonic sentence ends with the meaning, the base meaning of the kanji. That's difficult. But most of the time, I think it'll help. The second thing that we do that I've never seen any other book do is we have a sentence with all the readings in it. So we've made a sentence that contains, most of the time, 90% of the time, all readings possible for that kanji are in one sentence that you could actually remember. All right. So that's where I think we're really gonna be something. Gedam says RTK, remembering the kanji, help me. Look, by the way, I don't want to attack RTK. I mean, they are phenomenal. They outsell my Kanji from Zero book. They're amazing for that. They're beloved, and I really do like their cover. I think this is a really sweet, like this is a beautiful design. It's amazing. Okay, anyway, you said, RTK helped me with a few mnemonics, but it's better the way you do it because I forgot half the kanji in RTK like a week later. The other thing that I haven't talked about that we do in our book that I actually saw in one other book the other day that I was looking at, but not as extensive as what we're doing. We link the kanji to actual things. We actually have grammar behind the kanji sometimes. We show you how they're used in adjectives. We show you how they're used in verbs. We show how they're used in everyday Japanese life. Instead of just, here's some words, here's some kanji, here's the readings. There's a lot of books that just do that. Mar N says, thought you didn't like mnemonics. Yeah, you're watching a video from like 4 years ago, if you're thinking that. That was 2016. I have since seen the light. I absolutely, it's not that, you know what it is? I made a video called The Case Against Mnemonics. We're talking about mnemonics right now, okay? And why I really don't like mnemonics. But here's a really amazing mnemonic that is very commonly told even to Japanese children, okay? So you have Oya, which means parent. And it's made up of standing, tree, and look. That makes a lot of sense. You can make a story out of that. A parent is someone who stands up high in a tree and looks at their children. You can remember that, and then you can remember how to build the kanji that way. But everyone told me how important mnemonics were, and then and my big case against mnemonics was not that I hate mnemonics. It was that I don't think mnemonics should be taught to you. I think you should create your own mnemonics, because I learned kanji with my own mnemonics. I never learned any mnemonics. And in front of me, I had that book, Learning Hiragana and Katakana, and that has the dumbest mnemonics on the planet. Look at this. Look at this one. This one right here. Okay. It's so, as in so. And here's a kid goat got into a fight after school and he got an eye knocked out. The next day when other goats pointed and said, "You've only got one eye," he said, "So." Are you kidding me? Who comes up with that? And I don't mean they're so dumb that they're actually going to help you remember. They're just stretchy. There's too much stretching. And I didn't like it. Now, does that mean my book doesn't have stretching? No. You can't make mnemonics for things that don't actually have any sense. A lot of kanji makes no sense. It's just they chose it because they wanted a certain sound, so they put a certain radical in, or they wanted a certain meaning, so they put that meaning in. But when it's a sound radical, it literally makes no sense. So you have to come up with things that are unconventional. All right, Jafar, I saw that you're talking about some mnemonic. I can't read any of the mnemonics that you guys are giving me as an idea. If I do, it might affect me. I'm trying to be original. I'm also trying to not do what Wani Kani does. And if I remember correctly, it was like they had things like Superwoman and Fat Girl or something like that. I didn't like that. I didn't like magical radical names. So I'm trying to keep them as real as possible. Yes, creative gaming, that's the other thing that I didn't talk about, but that was a criticism I gave before, so it's not new. That RTK does not show the pronunciation. Now I can't throw a lot of shade here. My book will show pronunciation. It'll teach you the readings. It'll give you ways to memorize all of the readings and the meanings. I'm just gonna say this. I freaking love my book. Biased, yes, and also unbiased. I'm glad I'm not my own competition. That's how I feel. If I was my own competition, I'd give up right now. Because if you're ever in my live stream, I'm actually working on it in the live stream in Discord, and so people can attest. It's a lot of work. Anyway, I forgot what I was answering. Oh yeah, RTK doesn't teach the readings. Now, so my biggest complaint was that you learn all that kanji, yay, and you don't learn the readings. And Matt versus Japan made a very good point that it's easier to add the readings on top of the kanji when you already know the meaning of them instead of and you learn the readings, you can attach it to it. Although, yeah, I agree with that, but I don't think most people are going to get past that first book. They're probably going to give up in the middle, because literally in the middle of this book, he gives up. Like, there's full pages. Like, look at these. There are no mnemonics for all of these. It just says flag, altar, glue, military officer, heart, samurai, altar, yawning, grove and altar, cloak and prohibition, house and altar. There's no mnemonics. There's one there on this. There's 5 on this entire page, and the remaining kanji have no mnemonics. He just kind of couldn't come up with anything, right? Look, this whole section right here has no mnemonics, right? So that surprised me more than anything, because every now and then I'd have a particularly hard kanji that I would do a mnemonic on, and I'd go, okay, I got something. I'm really curious as to what they came up with. Nothing. They didn't come up with anything. That's what blew my mind. And then some of the parts that are like, that don't exist, it's interesting. It's interesting how and I checked maybe 10 kanji to compare. And most of the time they didn't have anything, because I only checked the super hard ones, just like, how do they do it? When I was looking at them, sometimes I would see the parts that they separated were, so sometimes the kanji could be separated in multiple ways because it's arbitrary, because the kanji itself is arbitrary sometimes. And the decision about how you break it up it's going to be different for every book breaking it up, because there's not a standard way to break things up. There are certain things you can do to break it up, but it's not standard for every kanji.